So you finally got your bass guitar and you're ready to start learning, but you're not really sure where to start. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the first 5 things that you absolutely need to know in order to start playing bass confidently. You ready? Let's get it. What's up, y'all? Montez G here, American bass player and artist, here to share all things creative in my bass playing journey. Everything from shows to session work to bass tips and tricks and many other things that we can do right here in this community. So if you're here, I really appreciate it. Do me a favor though, hit the subscribe button, because when you subscribe, it fuels the fire in me to continue to post content just like this one today. If you leave a comment, we can dialogue about the things. I don't swear that everything that I'm saying is correct. What I'm swearing by is everything that I have learned have helped me get to the point of where I am now. And it's been a blessing. This journey has been incredible, and I know it's only going to get better. So welcome, y'all. And now, back to the video. 5 things that you need to know. Are you ready? Let's get it. First thing that I'm going to suggest that you do when you first get your bass is learn how to hold it. Whether you're sitting or you're standing, they're both very important in your journey because you're going to do both depending on the gig or the setting. A lot of times you'll be sitting when you're practicing because you're more focused on what you're doing with your hands. But when you're standing, are you able to get into the music by the groove and the way that you stand, as well as your bass height? So we're going to tackle sitting first. Usually when I'm sitting, when I'm at home, I try to put my bass strap on to help with the balance. It's a good thing to do. Put your bass strap on. That way, if you needed to do anything, take your hands off the bass, there you go. But for the most part, the curve on the bass guitar right here is usually where I sit on my thigh. And then my strumming hand, which I'm a right-handed bass player, so my strumming hand is my right hand. That's the one with the control. I usually sit it somewhere within, there's a curve here on most basses, but I usually sit it somewhere about right here. There's a little arc back here that kind of helps with that, but I just sit here so I could play this way, and then this hand is just here, and I'm sitting in a comfortable spot. So even if I wanted to play scale, it was comfortable, right? So yeah. Now there are people who also take their basses. Can I do it with the strap on? And there's another style where you can sit the bass. See, I can't get further back, but you basically sit the bass, you put that curve on your other leg, and you would have some form of stool. And that also helps you. In a way, it's a little more comfortable, but let's see. You know what I mean? So both of these are great. Play around with what you want. Again, there's no right or wrong way. Whatever is comfortable and you can play efficiently. Now, the cool thing about this is when you're on gigs where you can sit down, this will kind of help you position yourself to be able to play comfortably for a gig, right? Now, I got to adjust my camera, but say for instance you want to stand. Let's see, I believe this is right. I believe you got a good position for it. Now, for me, there are bass players that sit kind of low. A lot of rockers, they'll play down here. I am like semi-medium, still kind of low, but that's mainly because, I don't know, it's just something about when I can groove, You know what I mean? Like it just look cool, and I'm usually like bouncing. Stuff like that. Or there are people that play with their basses up high, and it's usually because of a speed thing or whatever the case. Find your rhythm. Find out what fits you. Get you a good posture, get you a good comfortable position. If you're hurting while you're playing, you probably should stop. Cool. The second thing I would learn when I get my bass would be how to tune it. Now on a standard bass guitar, 4-string, the tuning goes from E, A, D, G. Top string is E, next string is A, string after that is D, bottom string is G. Those are in fourths, which we will talk about later on, like in another video, once we approach major scales and even just grooving, it makes more sense. Now, there are a few different types of tuners. The most common ones would be clip-on tuners, which I absolutely love. Unfortunately, these can get misplaced. You could let somebody borrow it and they don't give it back to you. Many things can happen. This is the longest I've ever had a tuner, so hopefully I didn't jinx myself. But anyway, this is a Super Snark Air. No, they did not tell me to say that, but I will put a link in the bio about how you can get one of these. But these are really great because you could clip it right to the headstock, turn it on, and it has a little display on it to tell you exactly where you are. So, yeah, and then you strum each string, and you use the tuning head to get it as close to accurate in the middle as possible. Most people tune to the 440 hertz across the band, and maybe one day we'll all switch and go to some of these cooler ones. But anyway, yeah, you go through each string and tune it up. Now, a pro tip that I have found once, especially with like the headstock tuner, or if you got one that you can plug in, which usually works better, you can turn your volume up and you can do a harmonic tap, which usually come down to like the 12th fret, double dots, which is very helpful, and you can lightly hold over it and strum the note, and it gives you a much better reading, like even here, just a touch flat, but you can do that with each string. Very helpful. Get your tuner straight. The third thing I would do is figure out which hand is your dominant hand. What I mean by is I'm a right-handed bass player and I play standard, but then you got people like Mono Neon or Eric Gales, and I believe Jimi Hendrix, who took right-handed basses or guitars and they flipped them upside down and they played this method. I am not here to tell you how to play your bass. Whatever is comfortable for you, you learn how to play it in that comfortable position and amaze the world. Now, what I would do is determine which hand is your dominant hand, which is your strumming hand, the hand that strikes the strings, or the fingers that will strike the strings in order for you to produce a sound. Usually for me, I come up, you know, I told you about position. Now this is a P bass, so there's this little stack of pickups right here, but if there's a J bass, there's usually 2 sticks. Depending on which bass you got, doesn't really matter. I would try to find the center point to start. Now, you know, playing up towards the neck gives you a certain tone. Playing towards the back, by the saddles, give you a certain tone. For the sake of beginning, I would get in the middle. We'll approach technique and all of that tone stuff a little bit later in another video. But for now, I would come towards the middle. 1 finger. This is the 1, this is 2. You know, we'll call this one 3 and 4. That's gonna make sense later, but we're just gonna deal with 1 and 2. To start though, let's deal with 1. Make sure your volume's up. And I would start, just get a feel for it, clean. You're not doing that, you're not doing that. The best way I could say it is you wanna walk. Don't worry about trying to do a hard strum or anything like that. Just get in the habit of playing a note, go to the next one. Next one. Come back down. Yep. Right. Now, another tip. Try to use a metronome. There are many apps out here. If you're practicing and with an interface into your computer, you know, you could just use the DAW such as Logic or Pro Tools or Ableton or whatever. But try to get you a metronome so that way you can practice the tempo. Now this is very important for your playing, and I'm gonna make sure to dive deep into that as well. I have so much content to cover. Anyway, but once you've done one finger, I would work on getting the 2 finger up. Incorporate both, because you know, same concept, but incorporate both. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Same thing. Remember to not try to, you're not plucking. I call it the walk. You wanna walk. You know what I mean? The fourth thing that I would do after I have learned how to work on my strumming hand is incorporate the fretting hand. This is where you get the beauty of the notes. Now, there's a few things to consider, and one of the main one is make sure when you're fretting, you're placing your finger in this proper place and giving it a good press, because if you don't give it a good press, you can end up with some string noise. I don't even know. You know what I mean? And that's not what you want. You want a clean note. Clean. You know what I mean? Now, let me tell you though, when you first start playing, this part is what's gonna hurt the most. Having to press down and work on your strength. It's not gonna be as easy and efficient as you may want it to be when you first start. Give yourself grace, be patient. When I first started playing out, it hurt, my hands were blistered. I may have bled a few times just from like playing through it, but give yourself grace to like actually get better. So I would come down. The first part is this first position. I wouldn't necessarily start there in terms of working on your hands, just strength. I would come down to like maybe the 5th or the 7th fret, and I would play a note, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 4th finger. Now notice I kept them all pressed down. That's from an exercise I showed in another video. But when you're first starting out, that could be very tricky to do, especially here. You may end up having to go here. But just when you're starting out, it's okay. Play a note, come off. Next finger, come off. Next finger, come off. Or start with 1 finger. It's okay. There's many ways you can start. The important thing to remember is that you can work on getting clean presses. You don't want to be bending. You don't want to come up like that. You want to get a good press down. All right? That's it. And I'll be posting other tips and tricks about using all 4 fingers. You know, when I first started as a bass player, I didn't use all 4 fingers, but I eventually came around to doing it. But check out more videos. I got you coming. Actually, before I move on to the 5th thing, I want to show you a quick exercise. I would just literally come here, remember, alternate. Do it again. Now I got flying fingers. We call it flying fingers. When your hand's coming off, you want to get to the point where your fingers are staying close. So that just takes time. Again, be patient with yourself. The 5th thing that I would do is learn to get your first groove. Work on your ear training. Being able to hear the bass lines will help you so much when you're trying to figure out patterns and scales on the bass, because you'll be able to see it. And what you're going to find out the more you play is, in order to unlock this fretboard, you'll start to see patterns up and down the neck. This way, diagonal, that's going to help you be able to play fluently. You know, grooves like. Was a funky singer. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just a looping groove that you can work on with a metronome or actually play to the song. Play that funky music. Yes, sir. I think that's Wild Cherry. Yeah. But anyway, find your groove like that, and try to mess with your ear training a little bit. See, can you hum the notes? You don't really know your notes yet, but see, can you at least hum them? See where they're on the neck. See if you can hear it. You might mess around and develop a little technique, and then you go later on like, oh, that's what I played? Tight. I hope this video was helpful to you. Each one of those 5 things can be broken down into so many like nooks and crannies, and like I try my best to keep it simple, but I'll break these down even further. I know some of those with like the plucking and the fretting hands. I got so many tips and tricks that I can show you that help me with my playing, exercise wise, as well as actual groove wise and technique wise. Like, there's so much to get into. So I'm glad that you're here. And if you want more videos like these, make sure you subscribe, put the like button up, comment, let me know your thoughts. I'm sure I missed something. And for all of you bass players that's way past beginner, don't judge me. But if you're a beginner bass player, I hope this at least helps. And until the next video, happy playing, my friends. Let's get it.